I got really emotional. I started like crying. I was like, I'm in college. Why am I going this route? Like I could just
Yeah.
go the traditional way. Like why don't I just get my degree and make money that way? Like why am I here? And I did around 20K in payouts in the past 2 months. I feel like a lot of like stress, low key, just like it's gone. It's gone. Nothing changes. Nothing changes, man.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we have a case study with another one of my students, Alvin over here. He's been killing it in the syndicate. And yeah, basically go ahead and introduce the audience about yourself. Tell us how much you did in payouts and we'll get going from there.
Sounds good. Obviously, my name's Alvin. I'm 18 and I'm currently a freshman in college. And I did around 20K in payouts in the past 2 months. I did 10K alone currently in May, and hopefully more to come.
Hell yeah. No, good stuff, bro. I'm super proud of you. Yeah, but basically the game plan for this video is just to talk more about Alvin's journey, his story, how he got to the position where he's at right now. I saw your guys' comments in the last case studies. You guys were saying that I was yapping too much, so we're going to change it up. We're going to let Alvin take the whole initiative of this case study. I know you guys want to hear more about the students, so that's my bad. But yeah, Alvin, it's all about you. I'm just going to ask you questions and, you go ahead and just yap, bro, for this entire case study. So first thing I want to ask you, bro, is how did you get started with trading? What was your journey? Yeah, we'll get started with there.
Okay, so I low-key initially started as like kind of a joke, like a side quest thing last April, I think. I remember I was in the library and I low-key did not want to study, and I was like, yo, what should I do? And like one of my close friends also started like day trading as well. And I was like, okay, maybe I should hop on this, I can try it out a little bit. And I didn't get too serious until maybe the summer before going to college, because I was like, I didn't really have much to do and I wanted to find like new side hustles. So I was like, shit, why not? And I started with TGR, the usual, watching all this like boot camp videos, stuff like that. And since I wasn't 18 at the time, I kept paper trading during the summer until I was 18, and then I started to transition into prop firms.
Yeah, that's fire. So what were like the biggest struggles that you were facing in your trading when you were first starting? You started last year, you said, in April, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the learning curve like before joining the syndicate? Like, how did you go from TGR's bootcamp to kind of learning on your own and then realizing, okay, let me go ahead, take it to the next level and actually lock in?
So I started just paper trading a lot and more like forward testing, looking at different sessions, stuff like that. And before, I paper traded for around 2 months, from like June, July until August when I turned 18. And I felt like I was also ready then, because I was doing good during my paper trading. Like I was taking one trade a day psychologically, hop off the charts regardless of what happened. And then that low-key hit me when I first started spending money on prop firms. I thought, shit was low-key easy, and it was actually quite the opposite. My psych got fucked. Like I was blowing like 5 accounts at once, like resetting them, like I literally hit the two reset limit like so many times when I first started out.
Yeah.
5 accounts.
Yeah, with Top Step, yeah.
Yeah, it was just fried.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. And were you able to get any payouts before, like on your own before joining the syndicate, or was it after you joined?
Yeah, so I got one around, I think October or September. I don't remember when exactly, but I remember it was more when gold was ripping up, and I felt like I got pretty lucky. In my opinion, I was low-key a degen gambling, bro. I was like, 3 p.m., bro, longing fucking gold until I snagged the winning day, and then I hopped off, and then eventually, I did get that payout, but it didn't feel nice because I knew I was just doing some stupid shit.
Yeah. What was that payout for? How much did you get that payout, or what? Yeah, what was the payout amount?
I got it for 1,700 in total.
1,700. Okay. And what did you do with that 1,700? Did you I assume you put it back into evals and stuff like that, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, and
how were you feeling when you got that first payout? Like I know you were talking about it was like lucky and stuff like that. Did you gain like an ego? Because talking to other people as well, they talk about how they get their first payout and they build an ego, and then they think, oh yeah, I got it. I know how to trade. I'm gonna be profitable for the rest of the months. Was it the same feeling for you, or how did you go about it?
Yep, exactly. I thought I was like on top of the world. Like I was like, dude, I low-key thought I was like better than some people, and I was just like, I don't know what I was thinking, but it was just like, wow, it really hit. And I don't know, I think it was the problem with social media, I kept seeing like people saying like, oh, after you get your few first payouts, then it's like when you like start to understand. But then for me, it felt really different because I knew that payout that wasn't like from my strategy that I initially like learned,
Yeah.
and it was really humbling. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, you were talking about social media and about like, how other people are saying like after you get your first few payouts, you scale and stuff like that. What did you do to kind of block out the noise? And I assume that you reinvested the rest of the 1700 and you just lost it all, right? Back into evals, just blowing accounts.
Yeah, I felt like for me, I didn't really block out the noise.
Okay.
I kind of just, I'm gonna be honest, I just found out with experience, like for
Yeah.
sure. I don't think I was really good at like managing my money as well. And yeah, I felt like I had to take the hard way out, in my opinion. I just
Yeah.
took way too long to figure out things.
Yeah. Talk more about that experience, bro, in terms of like what do you mean specifically in terms of the experience? Was it just like blowing accounts, or like, I mean, if you're comfortable with sharing, like talk about, your darkest times that you were facing with your trading.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely hit still, but I remember during that time I blew like couple thousand, almost like maybe even like close to five figures in just evals, and it was it was so bad. Like
Yeah.
I had savings from when I turned 18. I had like stocks and stuff like that. I like took it all out, tried to invest it in myself. I mean, I did really believe in myself, but I was just moving way too fast. Like I didn't have like a real payout, and I was just trying to have 5 accounts at once for no type of reason. And I remember I was also just sitting in my dorm room in college. Like I was low-key really like antisocial. I didn't like talk to anyone my first semester. I was just low-key just locked up in my room. I kept thinking about it, and I got really emotional. I started like crying. I was like, dude, what am I doing with my life? Like I'm in college. Like why am I going this route? Like I could just go the traditional way. Like I'm already in college. Why don't I just study? Get my degree and just make money that way? Like why am I here?
Yeah, right. And you go to literally one of the top universities in the nation, right? You go to what's the college you go to?
I go to Cal currently.
Yeah. You go to Cal. I mean, like they're exactly like I would be thinking the same way as well. Where it's like, yeah, I'm at one of the top universities. I'm trying to learn how to day trade. It's not working out. Then why would I still continue to day trade if I have more of like a successful path ahead of me, or more of like a guaranteed path, right? Where I get my degree, I go ahead and get a job, a high-paying job, even if I work hard enough. So with that being said, you're at one of the top universities in the nation. What was more of the incentive for you to start trading when you already have that more guaranteed and stable path ahead of you, where you can just get your degree and get a job? What kind of pushed you to start day trading and just lock in with that?
I think for me, it's also financially. I wanted to be more financially free at a younger age, while also like the chance to give back to my parents for sure. I really saw like I kind of really had like the stuck thought of like when I turned 18, I really wanted to just like do everything myself, like eventually pay for my own tuition, housing, all that stuff. And I feel like at the time it did seem kind of unrealistic, but who knows? And I think eventually I'm really glad I took this risk and kind of worked out in that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely working out, bro. I mean, 20K in 2 months, that's a crazy start. I mean, honestly, we can just transition more into talking more about how your trading changed after you joined the syndicate. Because talk about first when you ended up joining the syndicate. When was it, if you remember?
Well, look, you don't. I think I don't remember, but I do check my like on Discord thing. It tells you like when you first joined.
Yeah.
Or, like,
I
the
think
Discord.
I think you joined like sometime late last year, but it's been quite a. I don't think it's been that long. I think it's been a good like 4 to 5. No, I'd say probably good like 7-8 months around the area, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah. So between the 8 months that you've been in the program, you've been ripping payouts for the last 2 months. What has specifically changed in your trading?
I think at first it was low-key. I don't think it works out for everyone, but like I guess I kind of changed my strategy to a more continuation one in the beginning. But like obviously I was still learning, and I feel like the market recaps you give out every day give really good inside knowledge. I remember I was like literally in the call every single day for like 2-3 months, even though it was so hard. Since I'm on the West Coast, it's kind of hard for me to like stay awake sometimes. And like if you want it bad enough, you kind of you'll make up like time for it. And setting that one trade limit for sure helps so much. Like actually, I remember I was on at first when I joined, I was on like alpha 100k zero accounts, and I was at like my last draw. I didn't have any more money in the bank. Like those were like I took out a good amount of investment for like this program, and that was like my last even like those were my last accounts like could have ever got gone, and I realized like shit, bro, like there's only one way out, bro. I gotta lock in.
Yeah. Damn. No, bro, that's I actually remember that. I do remember that when you were on those zero accounts and you ended up getting a payout on those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be completely honest. I think I had 3 of them and I only got a payout on one of them because apparently I didn't remember at the time, but I guess I traded like FOMC on accident, and I like my payout got declined. But my balance was like definitely more than enough to get a max payout on those ones. And then
Yeah.
I feel like ever since I took that one payout, I really got like I have a really bad habit, I guess, of just not caring about like the other accounts anymore, just because like, oh wait, I got a payout. It's like it's cool
Yeah.
if I blow them, and
Right.
that's exactly what ended up happening.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. No, of course, bro. That was the same thing for me. It's the same thing with a lot of traders as well. I mean, to this day, like I would be lying if I said, I was not feeling the same way with my accounts. Like there's definitely times where, I get a payout and then, I just blow it after because I get more careless, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with you as well. Same thing with all other traders. But I'm more focused about, okay, did I meet the return on investment aspect or no, right? Whatever you invested in those accounts, you get a payout times 5, times 10. You take that payout, you and reinvest it into more fundeds, and then you can start to scale and then increase your profit on top of that. So with that being said, you took that payout, first payout after you ended up joining the program, right? You locked in. What did you do with that payout? And what did you just do with that payout? Start off with that.
Wait, I think I'll be honest. I think I bought an Arc'teryx jacket. That shit was not to play, bro.
You said
It was like
what?
5. I bought an Arc'teryx jacket.
Oh, you did?
Bro, I think so. Bro, it was not to play. That shit was like $500. I didn't know.
Bro, that's hard. That's hard. That's a fire jacket though.
Bro, I was just like, yo, what am I doing, bro? I was like, yo, I was just out of it, man. I was just too happy, sometimes you gotta reward yourself when you,
You gotta reward
like,
yourself, yeah.
do
So wait,
something
what was the
good, bro.
payout for?
I think it was like
If you remember?
2.3K.
2.3. Okay,
around
so
there.
you spent 500 on the Arc'teryx jacket. So what did you do with the remaining like 1800?
I think mostly I was like really good with it. I just spent more back on evals, back into the game. Sometimes I would blow them. Sometimes I got it to express. I'm not
Yeah.
I don't remember too much about it, but I think I went back to top steps after.
Okay.
Just because I like,
Yeah.
I low-key like the platform.
Yeah, no, Top Step X is pretty goated. Like I always say to basically people that are trying to see consistency with their trading, like even the students in the program, like if you're struggling with psychological or the psychological part of your trading, if you can't hold yourself accountable, you will literally have Top Step X that holds you accountable, right? As long as you're true to your risk settings, there's nothing else that you can do about it. You hit your daily loss limit, you hit your trade limit, you're forced to get off. You physically cannot take another trade. I've said this in other case studies. One thing that will save you is at 6 p.m. EST, if you go on to Top Step X, go to your risk settings, 1 to 2 trade limit per day. And on top of that, you press the lock risk settings for day button, like that little orange button over there. When you wake up, you go to New York session, you quite literally cannot change your risk settings again. You cannot remove your trade limit. You can't do anything of that nature. Once you hit the 1 to 2 trades, you are locked out of your account until the next day. So with that being said, set an alarm on your phone, 6 p.m. EST every single day. Make sure you go to Top Step risk settings. Buying a Top Step account, if you're struggling with consistency, it's worth it to pay that extra buck just so you have those risk settings on your side, essentially, right? Because you're still going to spend that same time, that same money on other prop firms, right? So you might as well save money by just using Top Step, right? But yeah, I'll always be a big advocate of Top Step. But I guess now what we can talk about is I'm more interested, and I think the people would be more interested as well, watching this video, talking more about how you ended up actually scaling from that first payout you took with your alpha accounts to Top Step and then where you are right now.
Yeah. So I think when I first took it, it was like maybe in January or February. So 3, 4 months ago. But then I spent a lot of more money on evals, especially top step ones. And I kind of realized that I feel like I wasn't built for just like, multiple accounts at once. I started to descale after I blew a few evals on like trying to like scale up to 3 or 4 accounts, and I just kind of stuck with one, try to get like winning days on those. I was definitely not too greedy at first, and I just took those small sum payouts. I think a lot of people do forget about like those small sum payouts. I feel like it does really add up, and even though it doesn't seem like a lot, like you're only spending like $100 on evals. Like even if you take a $500-$600 payout, like you could do so much more with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, exactly.
yeah.
No, go ahead. Keep going. I think you have more to say, right?
Yeah, and then after that, I tried to get like after getting those small sum payouts, on that one, like on one account, I tried, getting bigger payouts and trying to scale a little. Not scale actually, more like I wanted to get a bigger sum payout, and I think throughout time when you like get more used to the market, like I think your psychology gets better as well with like higher risk when you risk a little more, since you already got those like small sum payouts, so it's like you don't feel as like it doesn't feel as rewarding, so you want to like scale up a little bit. And if you have like a buffer in terms of money for that, I think it's definitely worth it. And that's what I kind of did, and then now I'm eventually trying to scale into three accounts or 5 accounts at once.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the way to go about it. You would definitely say you took scaling a lot more slower, right? Yeah, I mean that's that's just the way to go about it personally. That's just the way that I view it as well. For people that have like low capital and are trying to work up their way to those 5-figure months like Alvin, the best way to go about it is just trading one account, getting multiple payouts on that one account, using those small sum payouts, reinvest it into more evals, take it a lot more seriously, right? Still stick to the same risk settings. And then over time, when you take more and more trades, you get more and more payouts on those small accounts, you can reinvest it, then you can get payouts on 3 accounts and then 5 accounts. And that's exactly how you can reach that 5-figure month goal. But the thing is, how long did it take for you to get to that 5-figure month goal, right? How long did it take for you? It took like 5 months, right?
Yeah, around 5 months.
Yeah, 5 months since joining the program. Like, he took it really slow, and that is a lot more sustainable than essentially taking one payout, reinvesting that payout into 5 accounts right off the bat, right? I mean, you also went through that as well, and you realize that's the thing. The difference between you and other people is that you realize that, okay, this is not working out, right? Trading 5 accounts at a time. Let me go ahead and de-risk, right? Descale, stack up payouts on one account, and then go for it from there, right? Now, the question that I have for you is, how did you go about like dealing with the fact that, you know, you were blowing money on evals after you got your first payout from Alpha after joining the program? What did you do to basically keep your head screwed on straight?
To be honest, I think it was more, I remember someone said this before. It was like, it's all part of like, you know, business. Like, you know, when you invest like in a business, you're always like bound to lose money, and like you just see evals as business expenses. As long as you're not like, I feel like as long as you're not recklessly blowing them too fast, it's like, it's bound to happen, you know, trades you're going to lose no matter what. Like, that's how the market is, and you just kind of just got to accept that fact.
Yeah. No, that's definitely facts. I mean, at the end of the day, the way that I talk about it is, it's just more reps in the market regardless, right? And it's also just tuition that you pay, right? Like, it's either you're paying, you know, it's the same thing, you know, you pay for education, you know, you go to college, you're paying tuition for college, right? To attend college. Same thing in the markets, right? You're paying tuition to basically learn from your mistakes, right? You make those mistakes, you learn from it, and then you move on, right? Now, the difference is, the problem is, people make mistakes, they don't take any action to learn from it, to actually understand, okay, why am I blowing these accounts? What is specifically wrong with my trading, my risk management, or my psychology that is causing me to blow account after account after account? And they continue to do the same exact things that cause them to blow account, right? So with you, how did you kind of reassess yourself and just focus more on the specific things? Like, what did you do personally? Did you journal? Did you reflect? What did you do to basically just like realize, okay, this is exactly what I'm doing wrong. What do I need to fix?
Yeah, I think the journal definitely helped because, you know, there's a section in Syndicate where everyone has their own journals, you know, put everything, all your executions, how you're feeling, etc., stuff like that. And at a point, you kind of just find out, like, I remember myself, I was taking like really bad scalp trades sometimes, and, you know, when you just keep on doing it, you kind of just like, eventually you'll realize, and I think it kind of just clicked for me, like, okay, I'm taking the same exact trades and it's not working out, like, something has to change, you know?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did, you know, I just had to reassess, like, take a step back, just reanalyze everything, and then, you know, clear your head and, you know, go back in the game.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's quite literally the only way to go about it, right? Being more aware about yourself will help you in your trading, right? Knowing your tendencies will be able to translate on the charts where you're trying to make irrational decisions in real time, and you stop yourself from making those irrational decisions because you know how that is going to impact the status of your accounts, right, in the future. So with that being said, I kind of want to dive more in depth about your journaling process. I think that's something that people can benefit from. Talk a little bit more about how you went about journaling and, you know, looking back at your trades.
Yeah, so initially I took it like really seriously because obviously like there was something wrong and clearly I had to fix it. So like sometimes maybe like once every 2 weeks I'll look back on my trades, and if like a lot of them seem the same and there's like a clear pattern, then that's like what I know I need to like fix or continue to keep on doing, and, you know, just keep rinsing, recycling that process. And I think for me also forward testing really helps because I really think that, like, you know, the markets do repeat themselves, like, and markets do change sometimes, so you gotta really adapt to conditions, especially with what has happened in like the past few weeks. Like, you have to like just change, like, you can't be super stuck on, like, I feel like you just have to be more loose with your trading. At first I feel like it's really good to have a good foundation of like, maybe like I used to use a checklist and I feel like it was really helpful, but then now I don't use a checklist. I'm way more loose with my entries, and, you know, I think it's definitely helped.
Yeah, actually, that's actually a good point right here, because I think there's like a big split in the trading community. I think there's some people that talk about, oh yeah, you need a checklist, you need like some sort of entry criteria, something specific in order to get into a trade. And if all of those things on your checklist doesn't get met, then I can't take a trade. And there's other people that basically said, no, a checklist is too mechanical, if you have one, you'll be missing entries that happen. Market conditions are always changing, etc. What is your take on essentially the two arguments, right? Checklist versus no checklist.
I think checklist is, I guess, when you first start, I feel like it's good foundation because you don't know, like, you're still learning and, like, I guess, like, you don't know too much about the markets, you're still learning. But as, like, time gets on, you know, you're forward testing, you get more knowledgeable about the markets. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't, like, sometimes maybe the strategy stops working and you just like, okay, wait, maybe I just need to take out this or, like, include something else, you know. You always still learn regardless. Like, I feel like you still learn a lot besides, like, just a certain, like, loose, like, entry model. You know, you might learn, like, a different confluence on, like, you know, YouTube or something like that, and you realize it starts working for you as well. And I feel like you can, with you know, with time experience, you kind of realize, like, maybe you don't need this, maybe this, like, stops working, or it's like it's not as valid anymore, and you find a different one. It's like, that might be a way to go. And I feel like for me to take a trade, it's more like what confluence are there right now, rather than like I needed this, and that. Like, I just see what I see, you know.
Yeah, no, and I saw that. I remember I saw that evolution in your trading as well, where, you know, when you first joined, you were trading more on like a checklist type of basis, where, you know, I'd call you out and I'd talk more about like, okay, yeah, you're thinking way too mechanically in these market conditions, right? You don't need to wait for every single thing to align, all the stars to align. This even goes for you guys as well that are watching this video, right? Go back, look at your trades, and basically just analyze, you know, the past 10 trades that you took into on your journal that you've journaled, right? Go back and see how many of those trades, if you go back and look and re-execute it in market replay, how many of those trades could you have executed earlier with the confluences that you already had in your head, right? If you can go back and find that out, you will probably see, again, if you're struggling with finding consistency, you would probably see that you were able to probably execute earlier, right? Because again, thinking more mechanically, yes, when you're first starting out, it makes a lot more sense because you need a foundation to follow. But when you get more experienced and, you know, you understand more about the market, about market structure, and you get more of a feel of the market as well, start to just go based off of what the market is presenting in real time. Take those confluences, stack it together, and then find your entry trigger, whatever it is, right? Now, what would you say personally was like the shift where you kind of transitioned more from like a checklist to trading more discretionarily? What was like the shift?
For me, it was just, I think it just came with market experience over time.
Yeah.
Like, I realized, like, I feel like, at least for my time in trading, you know, there was different, like, circumstances, especially just, like, with news as well. Like, I remember one time, like, gold was ripping when I said earlier, and then that, like, one era where, like, silver was, like, a big thing.
Yeah.
And
it was silver, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it's just, like, you have to, you know, sometimes things might be way, especially now, like, things can be way more volatile than before.
Yeah.
And you can't just be way too struck, because, like, sometimes just, like, things just never align. And it's, like, you kind of realize, like, maybe you wanted, like, to tap into, like, this midpoint of this gap, but then sometimes you realize, like, okay, if it's just ripping up, like, and it's not giving me that deeper retrace, like, you don't always have to wait for it. Like, it's just gonna leave without you, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. And you learn from experience and also just understanding the controllable aspects of your trading. A big thing is being risk management, right? So at the end of the day, if you have confluences that line up and you think that this is worth putting risk on the table, the only thing you can control is how much risk you're putting on the table on that specific setup, right? So like on 50Ks, for example, you're risking $500 per trade. You see a setup that aligns, not everything aligns, but the overall market conditions that you're seeing, it seems viable to put risk on. Just make sure you're risking relatively to $500 on that trade. If you lose, oh well, it is what it is. The way that I think about it is it's more about trade ideas in the market, right? Ideas essentially, okay, here's my draw on liquidity. I see structure right now. I see price action is trending towards it. Everything is looking good, but I don't have specific checklists to go off of, but I have confluences that are stacked up where I can execute and manage my risk perfectly. If I lose on that trade, that's perfectly fine, right? Because more of those quote unquote trade ideas will come later on and then they will hit, right? I will be able to win because my draw on liquidity was so strong, right? Now, with that being said, I guess last couple of things I want to talk about is, I guess another controversial question is talking about back testing versus forward testing. What I think some people talk about, oh, you don't need a back test, right? You just need a forward test. You just need a live trade. What's your thoughts on that about back testing versus forward testing?
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I maybe back tested like 2-3 months, and I was like, yeah, nah, this shit low-key not for me. I think when I first started, you know, you advocated for back testing, and I think it's, you know, important to collect data. But me personally, I think it kind of killed my confidence. I felt like, you know, why are trades not working? I feel like, and I kind of thought to myself, I feel like I personally just thought like, you know, market's always changing, you know, sometimes things may not work. And ever since it just killed my confidence, I kind of stopped doing it, and I kind of just forward tested mainly, and I think it worked out better for me in the end. But, you know, obviously if backtesting does work for you and you're seeing like success and stuff, like keep doing it, you know?
Yeah. No, I would say something similar as well. I think a lot of people have a misconception about backtesting where it's like your win rate in backtesting and the trades that you take are going to be able to replicate it in the live markets that you're currently trading right now, when in fact that is completely farther from the truth, right? So let's say you're backtesting a whole year's worth of data back in 2021 or 2020 or 2022. Those market conditions are completely different than the price action that you're currently trading in 2026, right? Look at price action right now. We've just been, over the last month, we've just been ripping vertical, like 6,000 points, 8,000 points, all-time highs, all-time highs over and over and over again, right? The price action that you're backtesting in 2022 quite literally has no correlation in the price action that you're trading right now. So with that being said, what do I think backtesting is most useful for? Collecting data, understanding a strategy, understanding market structure, as well as, you know, if you're more of an intermediate trader, a beginner trader, you don't have a foundation, backtesting is very essential, and 100% you need to do it if you're starting out with trading, or if you're just trying to learn a new strategy and collect data on it, find entry triggers as well that work, right? But you have to take all of that information that you got from backtesting, treat it as, you know, the win rate that you get from those market conditions as well, treat it as a separate thing, right? Go into the live markets and use logic, right? Use logic going into market open every single day, understand, okay, here are my drawn liquidities, where's displacement, what is market structure looking like, and execute based off of that, right? Yeah, I mean, that's just the best way to go about it. Yeah, but with that being said, just I guess a couple last things to talk about before we wrap things up. I think we're already at like 30 plus minutes, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. One thing I want to talk about is more about your life right now. So obviously you're in college, right? What, your first year? You said, yeah, your first year, a freshman. Talk a little bit more about, you know, now you're starting to make a bit of money, right? Probably more than like, you know, other people around you, like your friends and stuff like that. How is it, how is the experience like, and what's your life like now, you know, making, I would say, a significant amount of money for your age in a short period of time now compared to, you know, before, right? Before you joined the syndicate, before you even started trading, what's actually different in your life?
I feel like most things kind of stayed the same, from aside me being like financially free. Like I feel like a lot of like stress low-key just like it's gone, you know?
Yeah.
I could like focus on more things that I want to do. Like I like working out, you know? I could focus more on that. I think just my mental well-being low-key just got way better. Like not have to worry about the money aspect is really nice, especially since what has happened before, you know, going down so much. It's like now, like how I've changed as a person as well. But besides that, I feel like I've been more confident, just like talking to people, just hanging around more people. Cause I feel like before I was just like, dude, I'm low-key a bum, bro. I'm down, like, I'm down so much money. But like, and it's like, yo, I gotta fix this shit right now. But I don't really do much with my money besides spend on like evals and buying food, low key.
Yeah, just buying food. Yeah. I mean, in college, bro, your expenses are just kind of low, honestly. Like there's not much really going around unless you're paying like tuition, stuff like that, or if you're paying for housing, right? Yeah. So I mean, like besides that, you're basically just stacking bread. Yeah.
Yeah, I do definitely want to invest a lot of my money more back in, and I also really do like traveling. So you know, hopefully book some trips here and there with my friends and just, you know, have fun. I mean, to be honest, like low key, my best advice is live life when you're young. I feel like you're only young once.
Yeah. No, that's facts, bro. I mean, you should definitely enjoy what you've earned as well from trading. I mean, you worked for it, bro. Like you've been in here for what, again, like 5-6 months, probably even more, right? I mean, I saw you go through like the trials and tribulations in the program. You worked your way out of it. You applied what I told you, and with your experience as well, you were able to figure it out. And yeah, now you're doing well for yourself, and that is exactly what I expect. You know, when you join the program, right? Essentially, you know, I guide you. You learn from your own experiences as well. You hold yourself accountable. I hold you accountable as well. But at the end of the day, the entire goal for the program is for you not to be attending the calls like 6 months from now, right? Over and over and over again, right? You want to be a self-sufficient trader. Now you are that self-sufficient trader. You know the system. You know everything that you need essentially to be a profitable trader for like the rest of your life, for as long as you want to be trading for, right?
Exactly.
Now you just have to stick to it.
Yeah. I think one thing I want to add is like, especially like, I think it's really good joining calls, like learning, you know, in the beginning. But I feel like when you grow out of it, like it's really good to just trust your own discretion. Like you don't always have to go by what someone else says, you know. Just literally believe in yourself. Be convicted in your trades and you know, don't doubt yourself.
No, exactly. Don't doubt yourself. That's exactly it, bro. Right? You, at the end of the day, you need to have your own conviction, right? You need to have your own conviction. If you trust yourself and you trust your trades, it doesn't matter what anybody else is. Like even your mentor, right? Even the person that you're learning from, you're still going to have different views on the market, right? That's like the beautiful thing about the market. It's objective, where we're all looking at the same price action, but in our heads, we view it differently, right? We're looking at the same candlesticks, but we view it differently. So at the end of the day, if you have confluences that align that might be different than what other people are looking at, if there's real reason to why you're taking the trade, take the trade. All right. If it's a bad trade, and you realize it after, cool. That's not a bad thing. You learn from your mistakes, right? You learn from exactly why that was a bad trade. You go into the next day, you make sure that trade that you took initially does not become a habit, doesn't become a habitual trade where you just take it over and over and over again and eventually get stuck in that same cycle, right? But yeah, no, that was definitely a good point right there. Very last thing to wrap up the call, I want to say is, what would you say to someone that is on the fence of joining a mentorship right now? Someone that's just like scared to invest, they're struggling with trading, they're scared to invest in a mentorship. What would you say to them?
I think the best thing is I learned it from Luca, if you know. He told me, hey, nothing changes, man. And
Yeah.
that's like, that might be like simple quote, but if you think about it, like if there's a problem and you're not trying to fix it, like how do you think your result is going to change if you're not trying to change like your habits? How are you going to expect the result to be different if you're not going to change anything?
Yeah.
And I think taking on risk is good. I feel like everyone does it. Whether, that's like day trading, like you're already day trading, that's already a huge risk. And I feel like joining a mentorship does really speed up the process, because I don't know, I feel like I definitely would have been at the same place where I was, 7-8 months ago, where I was just blowing accounts like crazy, and I definitely most likely would have given up and just stuck to school, to be honest.
Yeah, bro. No, it's kind of crazy how life changes, bro. Like really, really fast too. And
Yeah.
I'm super proud. Like genuinely, I'm super proud to see where you got from joining the syndicate to where you are right now, bro. I know you're gonna keep killing it. You don't even need me anymore, bro. That's the beauty of it, bro. You don't
Yeah.
need me at all. But obviously, DMs are always open if you just need any advice in general, right? Text me, bro. Make sure you're in contact with me. But yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Again, super proud of you, bro. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing your story. I know a lot of people will like this video.
Yeah, of course.
Very, very last words. If you have any last words to wrap up this video, drop it right here and we'll call it quits.
I think my Discord is like my name. Like if you guys have any questions, like comments or concerns, I feel like I did repeat myself okay a decent amount. Like if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Discord, like, whatnot. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. His tag is Alvin with 2 N's and a 7.
Yeah.
If you guys want to add him on Discord. So that's it right there. Thank you for coming on, bro. Great conversation. And as always, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. All right. Peace.
Fire segment.